Joseph was a righteous man, but his righteousness still left him helpless, unable to do anything but send Mary away. See, Joseph was called righteous, dikaios, because he followed the rules. As a Jew, Joseph was righteous, that is, he was a tzaddik, because he obeyed the law, or Torah, of God. Now, before we go any further, let's be clear that God loves righteousness. In fact, God's people, you and I, must be righteous, because the alternative to righteousness is lawlessness, living in the flesh. See, the flesh says that I'll do whatever I want. I have no rules. I make my own rules. The flesh insists on going my way, right? So God loves righteousness, but the question for us is, how do you live the righteous life God desires? Not if, but how can you keep the commands of God? How can you please Him and do what's right? The Bible shows us two ways. There are two ways that people try to be righteous, but only one way satisfies God's requirements. The first way is what we see with Joseph. We call it a rules-based righteousness. Obeying the commands or rules based on your own strength. My strength. I'll do it my way. And as good as Joseph was, as good as you or I can be, we are still in the flesh. And that means that we have no spiritual power in ourselves. We are also helpless. So when we rely on ourselves for righteousness, that is, I depend on just doing my very best, using my own strength to obey God and His rules, we become what's called self-righteous. That is, I'm being righteous my way. Does that sound familiar? By my strength. And so that's rules-based righteousness. But God shows Joseph another way to righteousness. Righteousness in a redeeming relationship. He tells him about the Christ, the Redeemer. Jesus will do whatever you cannot do. So if rule-based righteousness depends on my strength, in my way, Redeemer righteousness surrenders to the Redeemer. In other words, instead of my strength, I surrender. I give up. I say, Lord, here it is. And I give Him what I've been trying to do. I surrender to Him. Your way, Lord, not my way. And instead of self-righteousness, I depend on a Redeemer relationship for righteousness. I depend on my Redeemer in a relationship for my righteousness. So let's see what that looks like. When we trust the Redeemer for righteousness, we turn to the Christ. We rely on His power, who He is. And so when we come to Christ, we come to Him as Jesus, who is the Son of Man. And we'll see today how the Redeemer relates to us as the Son of Man. And also we rely on Him as Emmanuel, the Son of God. And so today let's see how we may know and rely on a Redeemer to get righteousness His way by surrendering to Him. We'll call this the process of redemption.